In the year 2167, the demon race finally conquers the last of human territory. The world has completely fallen. Amidst the fiery ruins stands Si Chen, humanity's last SSS-Rank lightning assassin, beaten but not yet broken. The scene shifts back 7 years to the day several demon kings descended upon the world. The demon king, Lanyu, stands over Si Chen and mocks him. Lanyu sneers that they call this man humanity's last hope, but he sees only pathetic, fragile trash. The demon king declares that Si Chen's only remaining purpose is to become his food. A dark red energy begins to form in Lanyu's hand. With a wicked smile, the demon king screams that Si Chen will become his food, his power. Lanyu unleashes the attack, intending to absorb Si Chen once and for all. The evil energy consumes Si Chen's body, leaving him trapped. In his final moments, he remembers everyone he has lost: his sister, his comrades, his master. Rage fills him as he thinks of how their lives were snatched away by these beasts. Fueled by vengeance, Si Chen decides to use his last ounce of strength to drag Lanyu down to hell with him. He activates his SSS ultimate skill, Terminus Arc, unleashing an overwhelming wave of light. The Demon King is instantly paralyzed, wondering what this power could be. A faint smile on his face, Si Chen accepts his fate as the light completely engulfs him. He recalls everyone he loved, his sister, his master, and his parents. He regrets not being strong enough. He thinks that if only he had been stronger, if only he had discovered the demon lair sooner, he might have stopped the very first Demon King. Then he would not have lost everything so early. A moment later, everything goes dark. Slowly, he begins to wake up, his vision blurry. Si Chen opens his eyes to find himself lying in a small bed inside a room. As he sits up, he looks down at his hands, shocked to find that he is not dead. He looks around, wondering where he is, then walks to the window to get his bearings. Outside, he sees a building with a sign that reads School Infirmary and students walking across a campus. Si Chen is confused. The world was destroyed. There should be no one left. After a long moment, he finally accepts his new reality. He has returned 10 years into the past, back to his university days. A strange energy hums around him. A system message appears before his eyes. Power of Gluttony, integration complete. He looks at a nearby device and confirms the date, May 16, 2157. This confirms it. He has traveled back exactly 10 years. He realizes this is 3 years before the terrifying descent of the Demon Kings. Si Chen remembers that in 3 years, the first Demon King, Wrath, will descend upon this world. It was that monster who opened the gates of hell, starting the nightmare that led to humanity's fall. But now Si Chen is filled with a new resolve. He is back. He believes that if he defeats Wrath, the first to appear, he can prevent the gates from ever opening and change everything. The message about the power of gluttony reappears, and he wonders what this interface is. The strange screen has been floating in front of him since he woke up. He taps it, revealing a window filled with game-like data. It shows his name and his attributes, and he questions if this is his current status. He has never seen anything like this before. In his past life, he fought using only his awakened power. In this world, only 1 in every 10,000 people can become an awakener. His university only recruits those with potential, but in his past life, he failed to awaken and was at the very bottom of the social ladder. He assumes that's why he woke up in the infirmary. He was always getting beaten up. Suddenly, an image flashes on the screen detailing the Lightning Assassin class, a lightning-type fighter specializing in speed. Si Chen recognizes it instantly. This was his class from his previous life. He can feel the power coursing through him and wonders if he has somehow awakened early. Determined to find out, he prepares to test this power and selects switching class from the menu. The interface card in his hand flies towards the door, which snaps open at that exact moment. A young man wearing glasses stands in the doorway, a shocked look on his face. It's his friend Ma Long. He rushes over to Si Chen, asking if his body is okay now. Si Chen assures him he's fine and quietly confirms that Ma Long cannot see the interface. Ma Long is amazed. He exclaims that all of Si Chen's injuries are gone and his recovery was even faster than an awakener's. While his roommate chatters on, Si Chen just stares at him. He remembers that Ma Long was a low-tier awakener who tragically died on the 3rd day of the Demon King's descent. But now his friend is alive, standing right in front of him. Only in this moment does he truly feel that he has come back. Suddenly, Ma Long remembers the rank test is tomorrow. He tells Si Chen that even though he hasn't awakened yet, the test is crucial for his graduation evaluation and drags him out of the room to prepare. The two leave the infirmary and walk across the vast university campus. It is teeming with life, students are everywhere. Si Chen quietly remarks that it has been a long time since he has seen so many living people. Ma Long is freaked out by his strange comment and suggests they just take a walk around the playground. As they walk, Si Chen thinks to himself that he once lost everything completely. He knows that if he does nothing, that desperate future will soon arrive again. He decides he must take action immediately and increase his level as fast as possible. In this era, there is only one way for an awakener to level up, by killing monsters in the demon lairs. The problem is that the Great Guilds monopolize nearly all the demon lairs, giving outsiders zero chance to level up. He considers his own power level. The government classifies awakeners into ranks, S, a B, C, D. Most students at the university are stuck at E rank. Only a few geniuses with guild backing can reach D rank. He looks over at his friend and knows with certainty that even now he is far stronger than him. Without warning, a basketball flies through the air and slams directly into Ma Long's face. He collapses onto the bleachers, his nose bloody. A group of bullies approaches them. Their leader smirks, recognizing the two and remarking on how fast they recovered. Ma Long groans, realizing they've had the bad luck to run into him. Si Chen simply glares back at the thugs, not a trace of fear in his eyes. The bully says to his friends that he told them these two kids were tough. He then turns his attention back to them, complaining that since they knew he was playing ball here, they should have thought to bring 2 crates of drinks. Panicked, Ma Long starts to apologize, promising to go buy them right now, but Si Chen stops him. He steps forward and states that Ma Long is not the one at fault. He declares that the ones who should be saying sorry are them. Si Chen recognizes the bully. Memories of a past filled with torment well up inside him. He sees himself being drowned, his head shoved into a toilet by laughing thugs. He remembers Ma Long, weak but defiant, getting beaten for trying to intervene. The ringleader had always taunted him, claiming the beatings were just stimulation to awaken his dormant powers. After passing out, they'd leave him on the grimy floor, bored. Ma Long would be there, helping him up, asking with tears in his eyes why they were so relentlessly cruel. It was then Si Chen learned that pure malice wasn't exclusive to demons. It thrived in the human world as well. Back in the present, Gong Cheng is still demanding drinks. Ma Long, terrified, offers to go buy them immediately, but Si Chen stops him. He steps forward, declaring that Ma Long is not the one in the wrong here. Gong Cheng is stunned by his sudden defiance. Ma Long pleads with Si Chen, asking what he's doing. Gong Cheng, an E-rank flower warrior, ignites his fists and charges forward. Si Chen meets his gaze, his own eyes glowing with a faint red light, completely unafraid. He knows Gong Cheng is just a bully who leans on the reputation of his student council president brother. The watching students start to murmur, anticipating another beatdown for the 2 school outcasts. Gong Cheng, his fists enveloped in a green aura, gets right in Si Chen's face and demands to know what he said. Si Chen's reply is cold and simple, to never bother them again. Enraged, Gong Cheng screams that Si Chen needs another beating and throws a punch. To everyone's astonishment, Si Chen blocks the punch with one hand. The force of the impact sends Gong Cheng staggering backward. The crowd gasps. They can't understand how an unawakened nobody could block that attack. Humiliated, Gong Cheng roars, enraged that a weakling would dare challenge him. A small smile plays on Si Chen's lips. He remarks that this is a perfect chance to test his new skills. He activates his electric assassin class. Lightning crackles to life around him. Ma Long's jaw drops. He stammers, asking when Si Chen awakened. Gong Cheng, however, is not intimidated. He activates his indestructible demon armor. His arm transforms, taking on the appearance of jagged rock as he throws a powerful punch. Si Chen dodges with blinding speed and counters with a punch of his own. His lightning-infused fist connects squarely with the bully's face. The force of the blow sends Gong Cheng flying. The crowd, along with Ma Long, are stunned into silence. Gong Cheng hits the ground and immediately starts cursing, accusing Si Chen of a sneak attack. He shouts at his lackeys, asking if they're just going to stand there and watch, but they are frozen with fear. Si Chen's aura is overwhelming, none of them dare to move. Filled with rage, Gong Cheng gets back to his feet and charges, screaming that he's going to kill him. Si Chen effortlessly catches his arm. He channels lightning into his grip, causing Gong Cheng to cry out in pain. With a look of utter disdain, Si Chen tells him he is far too weak. He then delivers a devastating, electrified kick to Gong Cheng's chin. The blow sends the bully flying through the air before he crashes back to the ground, knocked out cold in a small crater. He lies there, utterly defeated. The crowd is silent, and Ma Long is still on his knees in shock. He can't comprehend when his friend became so powerful. Si Chen looks at his hand, then at his status window, drawing a few conclusions. First, he can switch to his electric assassin state at will. Second, his base form is strong enough to handle E-rank awakeners, but there is a problem. After defeating Gong Cheng, his stats haven't changed at all. He summons a lightning dagger into his hand, a new question forming in his mind. The crowd gasps as he approaches the downed bully. Ma Long shouts his name, asking what he's going to do. Si Chen places the tip of the lightning blade against Gong Cheng's neck. He wonders if the way to gain experience is still the same as it was in the past. As Si Chen prepares to deliver the final blow, a woman's voice cuts through the tension. It is Ling Yu, the vice president of the student council. She reminds him that this is a school and the punishment has been sufficient. With a smile, she assures Gong Cheng that he won't be bothered again. Si Chen relents, the lightning dagger in his hand dissipating. He questions whether the council is truly so eager to protect someone like Gong Cheng. explaining that without a clear and absolute deterrent, bullies like him will never stop. Gong Cheng's friends, now thoroughly terrified, decide they will never provoke Si Chen again. As Ling Yu turns and walks away, Si Chen leaves as well. Later that night in their dorm room, Ma Long is excitedly trying to convince their other roommates, Xiang Zhuo and Xiang Yu, of what he witnessed. He insists that Si Chen has awakened as a powerful electric assassin, strong enough to completely humiliate Gong Cheng. Xiang Zhuo, an E-rank nucleus mage, is skeptical. He points out that if Si Chen were so strong, he wouldn't be out doing basic physical training. Xiang Yu, a flower chanter, agrees, suggesting that Ma Long must have taken a hard hit to the head. Xiang Zhuo reminds them all that they were put in this dorm together, because they are the 4 lowest-ranked students in their year. He boasts that as the only combat class among them, a nucleus mage, he is clearly the strongest in the room. He declares that this is an unchangeable fact. He continues, scoffing at the idea that the weak Si Chen could be an assassin, and claiming that he himself is the one getting stronger. But his roommate just tells him that the rank test tomorrow will settle everything. Meanwhile, at an E-rank training demon lair, Gong Ting, the student council president and Gong Cheng's older brother, finishes his training for the day. As he exits the lair, he finds his bandaged brother waiting for him. Gong Cheng, his voice filled with hatred, demands that his brother deal with Si Chen for the public humiliation he suffered. With a cold and steady gaze, Gong Ting simply tells him that he understands. He assures his brother that he will handle it personally. Elsewhere, Gong Ting and Ling Yu are having dinner. She asks how he intends to handle the situation, nodding that his brother was soundly defeated. He expresses his doubts about Si Chen's supposed strength. Ling Yu points out that fewer than 10 students in the entire school have reached D rank, and he has already recruited all of them into his club. Furthermore, she reminds him, others lack the same access to demon lairs. Mediocre awakeners simply have no way to improve, and no one can catch up to his pace. At the same time, Si Chen is in the middle of a 20-kilometer run in the pouring rain, burdened by 100 kilograms of weights. He knows that an awakener's upper limit is directly tied to their physical strength. He pushes himself, but he knows this is still not enough. His mind drifts back to the year 2160 when the demon king Wrath descended upon the world. In an instant, his sister, his only relative, was killed. It was Wrath who opened the gates of hell, allowing the other demon kings to pour into the human world. And so his first goal is clear: he must kill Wrath. To do that, he has 3 years to surpass the demon's growth. His thoughts are interrupted by the vibration of his phone. It is his sister returning his call. He answers, his voice heavy with emotion. She explains that her phone had died and she just plugged it in. She then excitedly tells him that if she wins her competition, their rent problems will be solved. Noticing his silence, she asks what's wrong. With a smile and tears in his eyes, he tells her it's nothing. It has just been too long since he heard her voice. She laughs, confused by his words, and says her goodbyes, promising to call with good news soon. He hangs up the phone. Now everything has truly started over. He pushes himself to run 3 more laps, driven by the need to protect everything he loves. 8 hours after returning to this time, he finally returns to his dorm, exhausted. He stands in the shower, thinking about adapting to his younger, weaker body. After he's clean, he considers his next steps. Leveling up requires access to demon lairs, but they are all monopolized by the guilds. He wonders how he can possibly come into contact with monsters. And then there's the power of gluttony. What exactly is it? As if in response to his thoughts, the gluttony system boots up before his eyes. His consciousness is suddenly pulled from his body, and he finds himself falling into a strange, crimson abyss. He lands in an unfamiliar landscape dominated by a single, terrifying tower. He looks around, confused. He was just in his dorm, sleeping. Looking to his side, our protagonist spots 2 strange, shapeless creatures approaching him. Soon after, a full horde of E-rank monsters, identified as Death Hounds, appears, and they all seem to be Cloud Warriors. Faced with this new situation, he wonders if he has somehow ended up inside a demon lair, and immediately decides to switch his class to fight. A notification confirms that the class switch is complete. He resolves to first solve the immediate problem in front of him. With his electric speed, Si Chen charges directly at the monstrous creatures. He unleashes a precise strike, cleanly cutting one of the monsters in half without any difficulty. After the creature is defeated, a notification appears, stating he has obtained 3 death forests. With his current strength, he continues to fight the monsters without pause. He quickly realizes that dealing with these E-rank monsters is nothing more than child's play for him. As he sees the experience points flooding in, he becomes certain that this is not a dream. Most importantly, this is a place where he can finally gain experience and level up. As he levels up, all of his stats increase by 5 points at once. He is excited by the realization that he has found a demon lair he can raid all by himself for training. Suddenly, a massive wolf with glowing red eyes appears before him. It is a boss. Seeing this formidable foe, our protagonist decides to use this place to properly test his limits. The boss charges straight ahead, but Si Chen dodges its attack and launches a counterattack with his lightning. After the monster is defeated, he levels up again, reaching level 3 and obtaining several items in the process. He is shocked to have leveled up twice in such a short amount of time. As he looks down at the monster's body, a strange red message appears above it. The message states that the creature's body is devourable, and he is confused by the term. Not understanding its meaning, he wonders what exactly devour means. To find out, he extends his hand toward the monster to see what will happen. A bright light shines from his hand, and he wonders if this is the true meaning of the power of gluttony. The monster's body begins to disintegrate and is completely absorbed by Si Chen. Following the absorption, an intense energy powerfully manifests in his hand. At the end of the process, the monster is transformed into a card, a result that shocks him completely. He now understands that he can devour his enemies and transform them into his own classes. Our protagonist's eyes go wide with this discovery. At that moment, he remembers a frightening and familiar scene from his past. Si Chen recognizes that this is the exact same power the Demon King Lanyu used against him. The power of gluttony originally belonged to the Demon King, but our protagonist has now seized it for himself. In this world, it is an unchangeable law that each person can only possess one class, with its own inherent strengths and weaknesses. But now Si Chen has broken that rule. He possesses two classes simultaneously. He begins to think that if he can devour other monsters, he can gain even more powers. A determined look forms on his face as he realizes he could potentially have infinite classes if he continues. Despite his excitement, he wonders why he obtained such an absurd power. He also questions the nature of the demonic tower that stands behind him. Suddenly, an insane amount of energy erupts, throwing him backward without warning. He feels an intense pressure and wonders what is happening in this place. A mysterious voice declares that he has finally arrived, and that it has been waiting for him for a long time. The sinister creature then reveals its form and calls out Si Chen's name directly. The government classifies awakeners and monsters based on their combat power, from E rank all the way to S rank. With no time to think, the creature attacks and our protagonist is thrown back once more. He recalls that in his past life he nearly perished just to reach S rank, but now he is only D rank. The monster before him, however, is an S rank boss, and the difference in their power is immense. He wonders what kind of lair this is to have an S rank monster appear out of nowhere. On top of that, he is shocked that the creature knows his name. During their fight, they exchange dozens of blows. He knows the creature has had several chances to finish him. Even so, the monster attacks him again with absurd force, knocking him backward. But he notices that all of its attacks miss his vital points, serving only to knock him down over and over again. From a superior position, the monster asks if he is still going to keep fighting. All beaten up on the ground, Si Chen finally understands. The monster wants him to submit. The monster tells him he had better reconsider its offer, presenting an invitation to guard the tower with it as a rare opportunity. But with a look full of hatred, our protagonist replies that he will never stay in this hellhole. In response to his refusal, the creature attacks him with its energy blade, severely injuring his shoulder. The blow is brutal, and he is shocked by the pain as blood gushes from the wound. The beast asks if he truly thinks it will not take his life, explaining that its patience is only because he is the only one who can come here. With a threatening gaze, the creature begins to emanate its purple energy over the bodies of the surrounding monsters. Its power overflows as it asks him one last time, all while increasing its own strength and resistance. From there, the monster gives him an ultimatum: either stay and obey or be completely crushed. Even in this impossible situation, Si Chen does not give in. With lightning surrounding his body, he prepares his answer with a smile. He then yells with all his might that he chooses to fight and to wipe out the creature right here and now. The hooded being simply laughs, calling him ridiculous, and prepares to end the fight once and for all. Our protagonist does not back down. He charges forward, his lightning clashing against the enemy's purple energy. Surprisingly, he manages to block the monster's powerful weapon using only one hand. With a focused look, he reveals that he managed to figure out the enemy's pattern during their battle. He noticed that before each strike, the creature has a small opening of 0.4 seconds. With this knowledge, he can predict the blade's path and dodge the blow with precision. Most importantly, after attacking, the creature has a recovery lag of 0.2 seconds. He decides to aim for this opening while the monster is defenseless. With his lightning blade, he lunges forward and successfully pierces the creature's heart in an instant. He knows that a D rank cannot kill an S rank, but the paralysis from the blow should hold it for a few seconds. With no time to waste, he activates his lightning god ability, increasing his speed by 10 times. For him, these few seconds of paralysis are more than enough to escape. During the fight, he had observed the area and identified the only source of light as his chance to get out. He runs toward this light and extends his hand to pass through it. But as he passes through the light, he realizes it has vanished behind him. The monster reveals that the light was just an illusion and that this place is not a demon lair at all. Even so, the creature praises him for finding the flaws in its attacks so quickly. The beast then transforms, revealing its true form, and says that Si Chen is the only one who can bring hope. Si Chen is in shock. He has seen this appearance once before on the Demon King Lanyu himself. The creature continues, saying that even when faced with despair, he calmly analyzes the situation and risks everything for a single glimmer of hope. The mysterious being reveals that during its final battle, Lanyu had effortlessly switched between several high-rank classes. In one moment, the Demon King became a creature of pure ice, freezing everything around it. In the next, a colossal ice dragon dominated the sky. Then it transformed into a fiery beast of devastating power, followed by a monster of venomous vines, and finally a being of holy light, each form as powerful as the last. Si Chen vividly remembers these transformations, and one of them was identical to the creature standing before him now. The being confirms this was its appearance when it was defeated and sealed within this place. A horrifying realization dawns on Si Chen. This creature must have been devoured by Lanyu's power of gluttony, and since that power is now integrated into his own body, he questions if this entire place exists inside of him. The creature praises his sharp mind and declares him worthy of everything this place holds. Confused, Si Chen asks what that means. In response, the monster presents him with the Key of the Void, an SSS-Rank item that opens the gates of the demonic tower. It explains that Lanyu devoured countless ferocious demons, sealing the strongest of them within that very tower. The creature instructs him to devour them all to grow stronger, to let them all become his fuel. Si Chen takes the key, still not understanding, and asks why it is helping him. The being explains that even among the demon race, a line exists between good and evil, and the Demon Kings slaughtered its entire kin to satisfy their own greed. It tells him it has waited for an eternity for a chance at revenge, and that Si Chen is its only hope. Still confused, Si Chen asks who it is talking about. The monster simply points to the tower and says all the answers are hidden within for him to find. As it begins to fade, the creature tells Si Chen to take its power and make them pay. He hesitates, questioning if he should really accept a monster's power. The being's voice echoes around him, urging him to become unstoppable, to devour everything inside the tower. It warns him that the demons sealed within are the most cunning and vicious entities in existence, and they will not be as lenient as it was. It tells him he must endure, conquer, and stand at the very peak of this world. He must fight until he has devoured every single one of the Demon Kings. As it disappears completely, the creature says that only a man with such resolve is worthy of its power. A purple energy flows from the fatting creature into Si Chen's hand. A loading bar appears and his level skyrockets to 10. 2 demonic swords appear as a reward. A look of grim determination on his face, he accepts his new mission and vows to carry out the monster's will. A system notification confirms that he has devoured the beast, obtaining the Star Warrior class and its skills. The morning sun streams through the window of his dorm room. A voice shouts for everyone to wake up. Si Chen sits up in bed, startled and disoriented. His roommates are rushing to get ready, and he realizes he is back in the dorm. He checks his body, his wounds are completely healed. He wonders if it was all just a dream, but his system interface appears, proving it was all real. Even the loot he obtained in that other place came back with him. He is shocked. He jumped to level 10 in a single night. He wonders what rank he would be classified as now. At that moment, Xiang Yu approaches his bed with a smirk. He mentions that someone was talking big about Si Chen last night. Ma Long in the background looks embarrassed. He was the one who had been bragging to their roommates. Xiang Yu scoffs at the idea of Si Chen trying to topple his reign as the strongest in the dorm. With a challenging look, he says the rank test will reveal what Si Chen is really made of. As the group walks towards the testing grounds, Xiang Yu continues to boast, snacking as he goes. He reminds them that while they are all E-rank, he is a mid-E rank, a massive gap in power. He claims he could take on 10 of them at once. He even muses that his own rank might have gone up since the last test. Ma Long ignores him and encourages Si Chen to aim for D rank and shut the idiot up. Si Chen quietly contemplates the possibility. As they cross the courtyard, another group of students approaches. Xiang Yu excitedly waves, trying to get their attention. By the time they arrive at the testing location, the area is already crowded. Suddenly, Gong Cheng's goons appear, pushing their way through the students. The white-haired thug glares in their direction. Fearing trouble, Si Chen's roommates want to stay away. But Si Chen walks straight past them unfazed. The two goons freeze in place, then bow respectfully, calling him Big Brother Si Chen. Xiang Yu is in shock, wondering why they are being so respectful. Si Chen continues walking as the two thugs remain bowed. A new voice calls out his name. It's Zhang Jian, a student council officer. He mentions hearing about the incident with Gong Cheng and reminds Si Chen that the bully is the younger brother of their esteemed president Gong Ting. The roommates are terrified. They know Jiang Jian is the president's personal lapdog and a powerful D-rank awakener. With a mocking smile, Jiang Jian says he has a sharp sense of smell and can always detect a true powerhouse. He leans in close to Si Chen and sneers, telling him that all he can smell from him is the pathetic stench of a permanent bottom feeder. Unfazed, our protagonist stares at him and asks if he is some kind of dog. This enrages Jiang Jian, who yells back, demanding to know what he just said. But before the situation can escalate, a new voice intervenes, telling Jiang Jian to stop. It is Gong Ting, the student council president. He states that he has already investigated the matter and his brother was the one in the wrong. He turns, adding that it is only right to pay the price for one's misdeeds, and with that he leaves. For a long moment, Gong Ting and Si Chen just stare at each other, an unspoken tension hanging in the air. The silence is broken by an announcement. The rank test is about to begin and students will be called up in order. Gong Ting walks away with Jiang Jian, remarking that Si Chen does not seem to be much of a threat. From a high window overlooking the ceremony, a mysterious blonde woman observes the scene. Someone approaches her and asks why she is there and if she has spotted any students worth watching. With a small smile, she simply replies that this year's test might be quite interesting. 1 hour later, the assessments finally begin. The next to be called is Xiang Zuo. A look of determination on his face, he steps up, ready to show everyone his true strength. He enters the testing booth to begin. The test is conducted individually inside a specially made training demon lair. At its center is a demon heart, capable of absorbing the energy of the students. The awakener must release all of their energy in front of this heart. Xiang Zuo unleashes a blast of power at the device with all his might. The heart absorbs the energy and transmits it through cables to external equipment, which processes it into data. The screen flashes E-grade mid-tier. The teacher confirms the result, but wonders why the second piece of data has not yet appeared. Ma Long anxiously remarks that this is the main event of the test. Besides the current grade, the test can also measure a student's maximum potential. Those with high potential often receive special attention from the state. His potential is revealed to be C. Disappointed, Xiang Zuo leaves the booth. He has not improved at all in 2 years and had hoped to reach D rank. As the next student is called, his friends console him, reminding him that they are even weaker. True to their word, Xiang Yu and Ma Long both receive E-grade low-tier results. Suddenly, a new result appears on the screen that leaves the trio completely shocked. The first D rank of the year has been announced, and the crowd erupts. Sometime later, another D rank is announced, this one with a potential. Xiang Zuo and his friends are devastated. That's already the 8th D rank of the day. The teachers are impressed. Normally, only 2 or 3 graduates per year manage to reach D rank. With most of the tests complete, the teacher prepares to call the final student. It is none other than Gong Ting, the student council president. The crowd goes wild. The young master of the Imperial Guild, the chosen one with countless titles, is finally taking the stage. From a distance, Si Chen watches impassively. The students murmur amongst themselves, remembering that he had already reached D rank 2 years ago and wondering what level he might achieve now. Inside the testing room, Gong Ting approaches the demon heart. He thinks to himself that for now, he should hold back some of his power to create a bigger sensation later. Even so, he is confident he will set a new record in the school's history. A moment later, the machine begins to process his data. The teacher is shocked by the color of the energy Gong Ting released. Then the result flashes on the screen, stunning everyone into silence. D-grade high tier with an S-rank potential. The crowd erupts once more. Jiang Jian and his friends celebrate wildly, screaming that he is the first in the school's history to achieve such a result. Ma Long's jaw drops. They have just witnessed history in the making. The teachers confirm the result and decide to report the achievement to their superiors immediately. They know that an awakener with S-rank potential is a rare treasure and will be protected by the state. And as the son of the Imperial Guild's leader, his result is sure to make national headlines. From their vantage point, the mysterious duo comment on the surprising number of talented students this year. The man, Yuan Long, the university's principal, asks the woman if she had already known about Gong Ting's potential. She replies that no, she had not, and that she did not come all this way just to see him. With a smile, she reveals that, compared to him, she is more looking forward to another student's performance. The camera focuses on Si Chen, who has been watching everything with a serious expression. And then the teacher calls the final name to be tested, Si Chen. Jiang Jian approaches Si Chen and yells at him to bring some honor to his dorm. He sneers, saying that if all 4 of them turn out to be bottom-tier trash, their dorm will be the biggest laughingstock in the entire university. He continues to mock them, stating that a bunch of weaklings like them would only bring disgrace to the school. But Ma Long has had enough. He yells back, telling Jiang Jian to just wait and see. He screams with all his might that Si Chen is going to blow his mind with his power. Seeing the confrontation, Xiang Yu and the others grow worried, wondering what will happen next. Inside the testing lair, Si Chen gets into position, preparing to unleash his full power. Si Chen reflects on the current state of the world. For an awakener to secure a future, the only path is to join a high-rank guild. And for most, the only chance to prove their worth to these guilds is the graduation combat assessment. The squad that takes first place will have every single member directly recruited by the nation's top-tier Imperial Guild. This test is about far more than just determining a student's rank. Meanwhile, Zhang Jian is introducing Yan Lin, a new low D rank, to Gong Ting's group. He boasts that with all 9 D ranks from this year now on their team, along with Gong Cheng, victory is practically guaranteed. The true purpose of the test is revealed, to scout the perfect teammates for the graduation assessment. But in an environment where a strongest team is inevitably born, so too is a weakest team. Ma Long nervously wonders how long Si Chen has been inside the testing booth. There has been no movement at all, and the result screen remains blank. The other students start to mock him, joking that his power is so pathetic the machine can't even register it, and begin to leave. Zhang Jian declares that the testing is basically over, and that the few left are undoubtedly trash. He suggests they go find a place for some karaoke. Gong Ting agrees and tells him to call the rest of the team. But then the screen lights up. The result shocks everyone into silence. Si Chen is a high D rank. His dorm mates and the rest of the student body are left speechless, unable to believe what they are seeing. Ma Long erupts in celebration, shouting that he knew his friend was strong. Across the field, Gong Ting and Zhang Jian are stunned. They never expected a high D rank. Suddenly, a system notification appears, detecting an instability and requesting the candidate to retest. Si Chen realizes that his base stats at level 10 are equivalent to a high D rank. He decides to test another of his powers and initiates a class switch. He activates his weakest, devoured class, the Infernal Death King. The screen flashes again. His rank instantly jumps from high D rank to mid C rank. His friends are dumbfounded. Zhang Jian yells that it's impossible, that the machine must be broken. The teachers panic. They have never seen a rank change during a test and assume a system malfunction. The system once again detects an instability. The demon heart itself seems to be straining under the pressure. Si Chen decides to use his other classes to see the final result. He activates Purgatory Rakshasa, preparing to unleash the full extent of his true power. The demon heart begins to crack, looking as if it's about to explode. A dark purple energy fills the sky, terrifying everyone. Gong Ting and the others look up, wondering what is happening. His friends believe this is a celestial omen, that history is being rewritten. They realize their dorm has birthed a god-tier monster. At that moment, the potential screen glitches, displaying a distorted Goldens. The teachers scream in shock, wondering if it's another S-rank potential. Gong Ting is paralyzed with disbelief. A warning flashes on the screen, quickly changing to system error as the machine shakes violently. The screen then displays an SSS, indicating that the value has exceeded the system's maximum load. A student screams in terror. The testing machine explodes. The teachers rush to the scene, yelling that the demon heart has overloaded. They run into the testing booth to check on the student. Inside, they find the demon heart completely destroyed. They assume it must have burned out from overuse. Si Chen thinks to himself that he accidentally pushed too hard and choked the heart to death. But from this, he discovers that his power of gluttony can even devour the core of a machine. He walks out of the booth unharmed and decides to test his newly acquired ability. He activates the exquisite demon heart and is now able to see the true rank of everyone around him. This ability, he realizes, will be incredibly convenient. He looks at Gong Ting and discovers that he too has been hiding his real strength. With the machine broken, the teachers are forced to suspend the testing for the day. They declare that Si Chen's data was likely an error and that those who haven't been tested yet should return tomorrow. But Ma Long and the others don't care. They celebrate, proclaiming that Si Chen is a genius. Suddenly, Zhang Jian appears, shouting about how a loser like Si Chen could ever reach C rank. He blames him for breaking the demon heart, complaining that now the student council will have to wait. Annoyed by his incessant whining, lightning begins to crackle in Si Chen's hand. He considers just crippling him for good. But Gong Ting intervenes, telling Zhang Jian not to be disrespectful to their new teammate. Zhang Jian is completely shocked. Gong Ting then turns to Si Chen and with a smile invites him to join his squad for the graduation combat assessment. He guarantees that if they fight together, the highest score in history will be theirs. Ma Long and the others are flabbergasted by the president's personal invitation. One of Gong Ting's teammates grows upset. If Si Chen joins, someone will have to be kicked off the team. Zhang Jian questions what right he has to join when others couldn't even get in with bribes. But since the president himself has spoken, he knows he has no choice. Swallowing his pride, Zhang Jian forces a smile and welcomes Si Chen to the team. To everyone's astonishment, Si Chen simply refuses the invitation on the spot. Zhang Jian is speechless at his audacity. Even Gong Ting seems surprised by the rejection. Annoyed, Zhang Jian yells that their team is the strongest in the school, but Si Chen remains indifferent, telling him it has nothing to do with him. With a cold look, he warns them not to bother him again and turns his back. Jiang Jian is left fuming as Si Chen and his friends walk away. The crowd is in shock. They can't believe Si Chen had the nerve to turn down the student council president. Some students speculate that he's aiming for first place all by himself, but everyone agrees that this will make for some good drama. From a distance, his roommates laugh at the expressions on the bullies' faces and praise Si Chen for his bravery. But Gong Ting simply calms his fuming lackey, saying it's okay. It seems Si Chen has his own ideas. With the test over, the students begin to disperse. Director Yuan Long regrets that the two of them didn't team up, as he had been looking forward to a new school record. However, the mysterious woman just smiles, remarking that this twist has made things much more interesting. She explains that for someone like Gong Ting, who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, this refusal is a naked declaration of war. One of Gong Ting's lackeys mutters that their president isn't someone to be messed with. Jiang Jian is still seething, convinced that Si Chen is only acting arrogant because of a test error. But Gong Ting quietly wonders if the test wasn't wrong after all. He vows that no one will take his first place. One of his goons offers to teach the inexperienced newbie a lesson, but Gong Ting glares at him, asking if he looks like a petty person. The goon immediately backs down. Gong Ting dismisses the team, saying he is not in the mood for karaoke and walks off alone. As he leaves, he adds that whatever they do has nothing to do with him. His lackeys are momentarily confused, but then a wicked smile spreads across Jiang Jian's face. He understands the message. 10 minutes later, one of the goons informs Jiang Jian that Si Chen has left the school. He had overheard Si Chen saying he was going home and had left campus without eating. Jiang Jian crushes a soda can in his hand, thinking that heaven is helping him. A sinister smile on his face, he realizes that outside the school, he can deal with Si Chen without any repercussions. Meanwhile, Si Chen is walking calmly down the street near the university, unaware of the plot against him. He's focused on his own plans. He remembers that in his past life, a peak guild had encountered a powerful demon inside a certain lair, Wrath. With a single attack, the entire team was annihilated. From that day on, Wrath walked out of the demon lair and began its destruction of the human world. To find that lair, Si Chen has formulated a foolproof plan, but to start, he needs a large sum of money. He arrives at the Mithril Monster Exchange, which will one day become the country's largest material exchange. He knows that weapons and equipment are key elements in determining and awaken his strength. He walks up to the counter and dumps a handful of monster fangs on it. The appraiser is shocked, asking how a student could have obtained such items. Si Chen calmly replies that a monster dropped them. The man is confused, saying he has never seen them before, but a female employee recognizes them immediately as Sangson's Fang, a drop from an E-rank monster. While she is explaining the item's uses, the appraiser cuts her off, dismissively stating that an E-grade item is worthless. He boasts that he only deals with D-grade goods and above. Internally, he complains about the recent lack of high-grade customers, lamenting that he'll never get his promotion at this rate. He decides it is not worth his time and tells the newbie to handle it before walking away. A moment later, the woman hands Si Chen a briefcase with 18,000, which he notes is enough to solve his rent problems for now. He then says he has one more thing to show them. His hand begins to glow, and he summons a massive demonic greatsword with a sinister purple aura. The employee is stunned, guessing that it must be at least a B grade or maybe even an A-grade weapon. But the appraiser scoffs, reminding her that an A-grade weapon costs $1 million, and he's never even seen one. A man with blue hair suddenly appears, agreeing that it is not a B-grade or a grade weapon. The appraiser, trying to suck up to his boss, agrees that a poor student wouldn't have anything of value. But the boss reveals that the sword is an S-grade piece of equipment from the Purgatory lands. The appraiser and the employee are paralyzed with shock. The boss enthusiastically shakes Si Chen's hand, welcoming him as a distinguished guest. He immediately invites him to the VIP room, assuring him that any request he has will be handled. Si Chen smirks. The man Qingjai has finally appeared just as he had planned. He is a key piece in Si Chen's plan. Inside a lavish room, Si Chen calmly sips his tea as he prepares to make a deal. Across from him, Qingjai asks what he intends to do with the S-rank equipment on the table. With a cool expression, Si Chen gets straight to the point and says he wants $1 million for it. Qingjai is floored by the offer and wonders if he heard correctly, as the amount seems far too low. He explains that an S-rank weapon is worth tens of millions and would cause a frenzy on the market. Si Chen then clarifies that he does not want to sell the weapon but rather use it as collateral for a loan. This revelation sets Qingjai's mind racing. This is not an idea a typical college student would come up with. As Si Chen continues to sip his tea, the manager wonders if he is the runaway scion of a wealthy family or a super genius hiding his true strength. Sensing his hesitation, Si Chen offers to pay the loan back in full after 1 month, with an additional 10% interest to seal the deal. With that, Qingjai asks the female employee, Little Li, to step outside so they can speak privately. Adjusting his glasses, he begins to piece things together, noting that Si Chen attends the National Awakener University. He continues, recalling that the university's graduation combat assessment is in exactly 1 month, and the prize for first place is exactly 1 million. He ventures a guess. Si Chen is confident he will take first place in the assessment. From this, he deduces that Si Chen must be in desperate need of the money right now, with no other options, which is why he is resorting to this. Understanding the situation, Qingjai decides to make a counteroffer. He offers 1.5 million in cash immediately with 0% interest for 1 month. With a sly grin, he extends his hand and calls it a gesture of friendship. Si Chen remains silent for a moment, analyzing the manager's sudden generosity. Qingjai assures him he will keep everything about their transactions strictly confidential and only asks for preference in any future trading needs. Si Chen is impressed by the man's cleverness and realizes why he is destined to become the #1 exchange manager in the future. To eliminate wrath, Si Chen knows he cannot rely solely on his own strength. He needs reliable partners. The two shake hands, sealing their new partnership. Immediately after, a mana contract is established, and the money is transferred to Si Chen's account. Qingjai then asks what weapon Si Chen will use during the graduation assessment. He mentions that while he has no S-rank equipment in stock, he can lend him some high-quality B-rank or even A-rank items. Si Chen calmly declines the offer and with a simple gesture summons another greatsword identical to the one on the table. Qingjai and Little Li are left speechless. With their business concluded, Qingjai bids farewell to Si Chen, calling him a true young hero. He then turns to Little Li and promotes her to supervisor on the spot for helping to secure such an important client. As Si Chen is about to leave, he mentions he needs to buy something before he goes. Shortly after, he gets into a taxi. With cash in hand, he arrives at the long-distance bus station. He stands before the building, memories of his past life flooding his mind. Money had always been a problem. Before he had awakened, he had worked desperately at odd jobs just to barely cover the rent for him and his sister. They had lived as frugally as possible. He remembers his sister, Si Yun, with a crumpled acceptance letter to the International Central Academy of Arts. Fearing she would be a burden on their family, she had given up on her dream university to stay with him. Back in the present, Si Chen looks at his phone, thinking his sister should have arrived by now. A familiar voice calls out his name. It is Si Yun, scolding him for waiting at the entrance instead of the exit. She teases him, asking if he got confused from overworking again. He freezes. It has been 7 years since he last saw her. She asks him to help with her luggage, waving a hand in front of his face when he just stands there staring. Without a word, he pulls her into a tight hug. She's taken aback by his sudden display of affection. A smile of pure relief on his face, he thinks to himself that he has finally found her again. After a moment, she starts to push him away, complaining that he's suffocating her. She asks if he got rejected by a girl, noting his strange behavior. They walk home hand in hand, his sister chattering about her trip. Seeing her smile, Si Chen feels a renewed sense of purpose. He silently promises that in this life, he will never let her suffer any grievance again. Meanwhile, in a dark alley, a group of thugs lies in wait. Their leader, Jiang Jian, tells them to get ready to ambush Si Chen the moment he appears. With a wicked grin, he swears he will make him taste the consequences of provoking him. One of his goons looks worried and asks if it is not risky to bring so many people from the student council. The leader, Jiang Dai, replies that Si Chen's attitude really ticked him off, claiming a bottom-feeding, low-rank piece of trash had no right to disrespect him. He remembers Si Chen's words telling him he was too noisy and not to bother him anymore, which left him furious. Because of this, he orders his men to beat Si Chen half to death, ensuring he is crippled and unable to participate in the graduation assessment in 2 weeks. He boasts about being one of the top-tier cloud assassins in the entire school and flashes his gleaming dagger, ready for action. Meanwhile, our protagonist and his sister, Si Yun, continue their peaceful walk, completely unaware of the impending danger. The girl notices her brother's strange behavior these past 2 days and asks if it's because of the pressure from the graduation assessment. She jokes that a stubborn blockhead like him is not likely to be troubled by love problems, so the assessment must be the cause. With that, the girl tries to cheer him up, reminding him of the encouraging words he himself once told her, that life is a long road and opportunities will come sooner or later. To top it off, she even starts humming a song about believing in yourself to motivate him. Our protagonist thinks to himself that Si Yun is truly sensitive. She noticed his change the moment they met. He reassures her that he is really fine, but his sister thinks he's just putting on a brave face because of his man's pride. She sighs, recalling a line from a book that said men start building their own walls when they reach a certain age, and concludes that her old brother is really getting old. Little do they know, as they walk, Jiang Dai's group is already watching them from a nearby alley, ready to strike. One of Jiang Dai's goons notices Si Chen's sister and asks their leader about her. With a malicious look, Jiang Dai says this is even more perfect. He points out that there are no surveillance cameras in this alley and that the brothers are in for a treat this time, implying the fun will be even greater. Our protagonist suddenly senses a hostile aura approaching quickly. He immediately recognizes that it is the gang from the student council coming to cause trouble. Si Chen is surprised they managed to find them so quickly in such an isolated place. To keep his sister from getting involved in the chaos that's about to unfold, he quickly grabs his earbuds. In one swift motion, he puts the earbuds in her ears so she won't hear the fight. He tells her there's a song he really likes and has been looping for a long time recently, and that she should listen to it. Si Yun is confused by his sudden action and asks since when he started liking music. He tells her it's fine, that music can convey a person's state of mind. She smiles, thinking that perhaps this way she can understand her old brother a little better. With his sister now distracted by the music, our protagonist turns to face the gang with a serious look, his eyes glowing. The group of thugs approaches with Jiang Dai, a D-rank cloud assassin in the lead, surrounded by several E-rank goons. Completely oblivious to the danger, the girl continues listening to the music with a serene expression. The goons charge all at once towards Si Chen, who calmly waits for them. In that moment, he remembers that in the year 2160 of his past life, he lost his last remaining family member. It was not until 2167, when he returned from death, that he finally saw his sister again. With his eyes glowing with rage, he thinks that this is his first reunion with his family in 7 years, and he is furious that they would dare to come and ruin it. He lunges at the gang. Without hesitation, Si Chen lands a powerful punch to the face of the first goon that approaches. The impact is so strong that the man goes flying, leaving the others completely shocked by the scene. Meanwhile, Si Yun continues to listen to the music with her eyes closed, totally oblivious to the fight happening right behind her. Our protagonist prepares another attack, his fist glowing as the song continues to play in his sister's ears. One of the attackers does not even have time to react before he is hit square in the face. With impressive agility, Si Chen takes on several enemies at once without any difficulty. He unleashes a powerful kick that sends another goon flying through the air. One of the men attempts a surprise attack, throwing a massive punch directly at him, but our protagonist stops it with a single hand, displaying his superior strength. In a quick and precise move, he twists the attacker's arm. The man starts to panic, then screams in pain as Si Chen breaks his arm without the slightest bit of mercy. The force of the blow is so great that the goon's bone shatters on the spot. With one final attack, he sends the remaining enemies flying, determined to protect this precious moment with his sister. Jiang Dai is completely stunned, having no idea what is going on or how Si Chen is so strong. As Si Chen glows with a golden aura, he continues his assault, landing a direct punch on another goon. With a swift move, he knocks out the last of the subordinates, clearing a path to the gang leader. Faced with this situation, Jiang Dai draws his dagger and prepares to fight, finally realizing he severely underestimated his opponent. Gritting his teeth in rage, he boasts that he is a top-tier cloud assassin and that he cannot lose to a nobody. He screams furiously that he won't just stand there and take a beating and charges at Si Chen. But before he can do anything, Si Chen appears directly in front of him and lands a devastating punch. The impact is so brutal that Jiang Dai is sent flying with no chance to defend himself. Si Chen shows no mercy, using all his strength to end this fight once and for all. His fist connects with Jiang Dai's face, breaking several teeth and knocking him out cold. The final blow sends his body flying so far through the air that he eventually disappears from sight at the end of the dark alley. The force of the attack was so immense that the sound of the impact echoes through the area, sealing Si Chen's victory. With all of his enemies now lying on the ground, our protagonist turns around with a cold stare, his red eyes glowing in the darkness. Standing over one of the fallen goons, he repeats his earlier warning to not bother him. With his red eyes glowing intensely, he asks if the attackers do not understand human speech. Completely broken and terrified on the ground, Jiang Dai finally realizes that the test results were real. He stammers out an apology, his voice filled with fear. Impatiently, Si Chen grabs him and presses a dagger to his throat, warning him to shut up or he will slaughter him. The gang leader panics as he looks into the young man's eyes and sees a seriousness that confirms he is not bluffing. Because of this, he wonders how a mere student can possess such a heavy killing intent, and what kind of life he must have been through. With a deadly gaze, Si Chen tells Jiang Dai to remember every single word he is about to say next. He makes it clear that he doesn't care how they, as pieces of trash, choose to rot and stink. But he warns they are not to come bothering him again. At that, Si Chen presses the dagger closer to his throat and continues his threat, his voice low and menacing. He warns that if they dare to threaten his sister's safety or even so much as appear in her line of sight, he will, without a single moment of hesitation, make them all disappear forever, one by one. Completely terrified and now openly crying, the goon can only nod his head, unable to speak a single word. After delivering his final message, Si Chen walks away, leaving the bullies behind as the dagger clatters to the ground. Meanwhile, his sister Si Yun is still listening to the music. A single tear rolls down her cheek, moved by the song's lyrics. She wonders why this particular song makes her want to cry so much, not understanding the true reason behind her brother's choice. She thinks to herself that they have only been apart for just a few days, yet he makes it seem like he's really been through a lot. She reminds herself that she's always been with him and that he isn't that lonely. Taking off her earbuds, she calls out to her brother, complaining that he is being so annoying by playing this card. With a gentle smile, Si Chen then surprises his sister with a small gift box. He opens the box for her, revealing a beautiful golden pen, and tells her it is a gift for her. Si Yun is shocked when she recognizes the item. It is a Mana holographic drawing pen, the latest model from the Drager Group. She immediately asks where he got the money for it, knowing that it costs over 10,000. She thinks about returning it because it's so expensive. This causes Si Chen to remember how he had failed to protect her dreams in his past life. With his hands still stained with the blood from the recent fight, he makes a firm decision about this new life. Because of this, he promises that this time he will protect everything about her. Back at home, Si Yun is enthusiastically testing out her new gift. She draws a pink shape in the air and is amazed as holographic fish materialize before her. She exclaims that it's so easy to use and that she can draw images out of thin air. Meanwhile, Si Chen is happily eating, saying he is glad she likes it and complimenting her fried egg noodles as the best. But Si Yun is still worried. She reminds him that they still have to pay the rent and that he cannot be spending money so recklessly. Our protagonist surprises her once again, telling her that he has already paid this year's rent in full. He awkwardly makes up an excuse, saying he went into a small business partnership with a friend and made some money. Si Yun crosses her arms, suspicious, thinking to herself that her old brother is a terrible liar and is definitely hiding secrets from her now. Despite her suspicion, she notices a different look in her brother's eyes, a happy smile she has not seen on his face in a long time. Because of this, she shows her affection and concern with a simple gesture. She tells him that no matter what happens, he must not push himself too hard. Si Chen simply looks at her and agrees with a simple reassuring her. Elsewhere, it is revealed that Jiang Dai is seriously injured, with 60% of his body suffering from comminuted fractures. A man stands observing an aquarium and notes that not even the best healer can make him fully recover within a month. He says he did not expect him to actually go look for Si Chen and get cleaned up to look like this. A woman sitting nearby comments that with these injuries, he is going to miss the graduation assessment. But the slick-haired young man, Gong Ting, is unconcerned, stating that his team is just missing a burden with inferior skills and that it doesn't matter. A moment later, he turns around and comes face to face with an older man with glasses and a mustache. This is Gong Xuan, the director of the employment office at the National Awakening University. He mentions Si Chen's name again. The director states that he confirmed the internal results of the last rank test. Gong Xuan confirms that Si Chen is indeed a C rank, making him the only guy in the whole school with a higher rank than his nephew. This revelation leaves Gong Ting completely shocked. Gong Xuan warns his nephew that his father has invited the vice chairman of the alliance to observe his graduation performance, and that they cannot let anyone steal his thunder. Therefore, the director says that if push comes to shove, he can only ask his niece to fill the vacancy in Gong Ting's team. But Gong Ting interrupts, telling his uncle that he worries too much. With a confident smile, he asks if his uncle really thinks he used his full strength during the test. He then guarantees that on the day of the combat assessment, he will let everyone know who is truly the strongest. The scene changes. It is 11:00 p.m. at the National Awakening University male dormitory. Our protagonist is taking a shower, reflecting that his 100 km weighted training for the day is completed. The money issue is solved, and everything is running steadily. He knows his next task is to successfully win the 1 million champion scholarship from the graduation assessment and pay off the loan from Qingzhai. He understands that the contract with Qingzhai must be honored, as he will have many things to ask of him in the future. Lying in his bed, Si Chen reflects that there is less than a month until the assessment. Because of this, he decides it's time to level up a few more times. A moment later, the gluttony system activates in the dark, imposing tower materializes before him. He remembers that the previous test results showed that his weakest class, the Infernal Death King, reached a mid-C rank. Meanwhile, his strongest class, Purgatory Rakshasa, had a rank that failed to display because its potential value exceeded the system's maximum load. Because of this, the ranks corresponding to his remaining two classes are still unclear. With this in mind, Si Chen summons the SSS-Rank Key of the Void. He uses the key to open the gate of the magic tower, deciding to test it out today. The gate opens into a cosmic purple portal, and he wonders what the scenery inside will be like. Without hesitation, he is pulled into the vortex and disappears. Upon arriving on the other side, our protagonist is surprised by what he sees and exclaims, "This is." He has found himself in a desolate location known as the Fallen Star Wastes, a place with a strange and alien landscape. Suddenly, our protagonist feels something unusual, and his body reacts unexpectedly. He can barely stay on his feet and drops to his knees on the rocky ground, not understanding what is happening. With great effort, Si Chen realizes that the surface gravity here is approximately 10 times stronger than normal. He looks around and notices the door he came in through has vanished. He understands that he must eliminate this floor's boss to open it again. As he slowly recovers, a giant spectral purple paw appears right in front of him, signaling imminent danger. A moment later, a phantom lion, a B-rank star warrior, materializes, an imposing creature ready to attack. To adapt to the heavy gravity, Si Chen decides to switch his class. The system initiates the transformation. Now, as a lightning assassin, his attributes are displayed, focusing on his multiplied speed and strength as he prepares to face the creature. With a ferocious roar, the phantom lion lunges at our protagonist, who braces for the impact. Using his newfound agility, Si Chen barely manages to dodge the beast's swift attack. Even though he is faster, he can still feel his body is heavy and knows he must end this fight quickly. In a swift move, he attempts to strike the lion's vital spot, but a system message flashes, "Miss." The vital hit failed and the paralysis failed. Our protagonist is shocked. He realizes that the high gravity has severely impacted not only his speed but also his attack precision. Because of this, his assassin class has lost almost all of its advantages. The creature seems to move with ease, unaffected by the gravitational pull. As it advances on him, he wonders if this is the standard strength level of monsters inside the Purgatory Magic Tower. Faced with this new situation, he decides to switch his class once more and chooses Purgatory Rakshasa. A class switch is initiated and the process completes. Now, as the level 10 Purgatory Rakshasa, a star warrior, his attributes are greatly increased, focusing on high strength and stamina, allowing him to manipulate gravity. He understands that different classes have different core advantages, and for close quarters combat in this environment, he must rely on the warrior class. With his now absurdly high strength, he prepares to land a devastating blow on the creature. He activates his gravity skill, stacking it to the maximum to increase the downward impact force to its absolute limit. His power increases to 200%, then 400%, then a full 600%. He realizes that in this environment that already has high gravity, the power of his punch is now amplified by a full 60 times. He yells and prepares his most powerful strike. The phantom lion roars back, unaware of the devastating attack coming its way. It is hit head-on by the overwhelming energy of Si Chen's triphase gravity calamity skill in super heavy mode and begins to disintegrate instantly. After unleashing all of his strength, Si Chen collapses to the ground, exhausted and breathing heavily. Lying in the middle of a massive crater, he receives a notification that he has obtained one phantom lion bone. This single fight has earned him 12,000 EXP, leveling him up to 11. The system then explains that every star on a class card represents a multiplier for his stats. The Purgatory Rakshasa card has a total of 11 stars, while the Lightning Assassin has 9. From this, he realizes that the Purgatory Rakshasa has a higher overall amplification, and its rank after class change should be higher. But he notes that just dealing with a single B-rank monster took everything he had. It seems both of his current classes have not yet broken through the B-rank limit. Speaking of which, he starts to think about something that is not making sense. He wonders why, after killing the monster this time, the system did not show the devourable mark. To make matters worse, the gate to the next floor of the tower still has not appeared. Suddenly, a terrifying theory crosses his mind. Could it be? In the pitch-black void above, a small, mysterious eye slowly opens. Before his very eyes, a massive black hole appears in the sky of this desolate place. From within its darkness, several pairs of glowing, menacing eyes begin to stare him down. He finally understands. The one he just killed with all his might was not the real lord, it was just a small mob. From the portal, several identical phantom lions emerge. One of them charges forward and attacks Si Chen with its sharp claws, giving him no time to react. A moment later, he is completely overwhelmed and torn apart by the creatures. Only at this moment does he understand the true meaning of the Purgatory Rakshasa's words. Once the door opens, what welcomes you will be endless pain. As he is being annihilated, he knows he must endure everything. With his face covered in blood, he remembers he must conquer everything. He wakes up with a start back in his bed, realizing it was all a dream. Out of breath, he sits up in his dorm and tries to recover from the shock. Though it was a dream, the feeling of his muscles tearing, of his skin separating from bone, the pain was all incomparably real. He understands now that to become stronger, there are no shortcuts. This lonely and arduous road of purgatory has only just begun. The scene shifts. It is Friday, May 20th, 2157, at the National Awakener University Grand Auditorium. The graduation combat assessment team formation ceremony is underway. At a table at the front, Director Gong Xuan observes all the students. In the hall, the students are gossiping. They have heard that higher-ups from the Guild Alliance are coming to watch the assessment live. They realize this must be why the rules have changed so much this year. The new rules require every team to have at least 5 members, and at least one of them must be high E rank or above. As they speculate on the reason for the change, Director Gong Xuan clears his throat and prepares to speak. He announces that the rank information of all students in this batch has already been sent to everyone's wristbands. He instructs them to check their devices and complete their team formations as soon as possible. Immediately, all the students begin to check the lists that have appeared. The list shows the names, ranks, and team statuses of each student, with Gong Ting at the top as a D rank high tier. Suddenly, one of Si Chen's roommates points at the screen in shock, exclaiming that something is wrong. At the very bottom of the list, Si Chen's rank is listed as low E rank. His dorm mates are in disbelief, wondering how this is possible. One of them remembers that his test showed C rank and does not understand the change. 2 other students deduce that the demon heart really was broken back then. Another student sighs, saying he had been thinking of teaming up with Si Chen, but now with a rank of low E rank, he didn't expect that. Great, another student comments, now surely no one will want to team up with him. Who would want to carry deadweight in such an important assessment? Another student remarks that Si Chen, after refusing Gong Ting's invitation, must be regretting it to death now. All the while, Gong Ting watches the unfolding situation with a cool, confident expression, saying nothing. From his high vantage point, Director Gong Xuan observes the students' reactions with a cold, calculating gaze. He thinks to himself about his disappointing nephew, wondering when he will learn how to truly utilize power and human nature. He decides it is time to let his uncle teach him a lesson that will ensure his opponents won't even have the qualification to compete. The announcer hurries the students to form their teams, and in a flash, everyone swarms toward Gong Ting. A crowd of students desperately begs to join the student council president's team, with some, like a girl who claims to be a great healer, offering their skills. One of Gong Ting's team members shouts for the crowd to back off, announcing that there is only one spot left on their team. Half an hour later, the formation of several teams is finally and successfully completed. While the other groups celebrate, the protagonist and his friends are left isolated in a corner. The heroes group is disheartened because, due to their low ranks, no one wants to join them. They worry they will not even be able to qualify for the graduation assessment because they do not have enough members. One of his friends gets angry, insisting it is impossible for Si Chen's performance to have resulted in the lowest rank. The protagonist then realizes the rules were specifically changed to target their dorm. The combat assessment is the student's single greatest chance to show their worth, and a team's score defines everyone's future employment prospects. In addition, the number of monsters inside the Devil's Cave will be determined by the number of team members. Therefore, having more people does not necessarily guarantee an easier time or a higher score. Even so, the strongest students form their own groups, and no one is willing to team up with the weakest in the school. Seeing the stalemate, a girl approaches and calls out to Xiang Zhu, one of the protagonist's friends. She informs him that her team is just missing one person, and invites him to join so he does not get stuck with the low E-rank trash from his dorm. Our hero understands that if this continues, the 3 of them will surely be left behind, losing their qualification to compete after all their training. But his roommate apologizes to the girl, politely refusing her offer. He states that he will not abandon his roommates because their dorm agreed long ago to team up together. The other group gets furious with the refusal, calling him an ungrateful punk for not knowing what is good for him. A look at the team status list shows that almost every team is already full and time is running out. One of Si Chen's friends begins to panic, realizing they are still missing one person with barely any students left. With a determined look, the protagonist stands up as his eyes begin to glow. He notes that the director, Gong Xuan, shares the same surname as Gong Ting and concludes that they are from the same family. He then realizes that the rules and his rank were deliberately changed to target him and his friends, but he is not going to give up on the assessment. If they are going to target him so blatantly, he sees no need for him to be polite either. A class change is initiated, and as yellow bolts of lightning surround him, he decides it's time to show his real strength. On the stage, the director and his assistant are startled as they feel the sudden burst of power. Si Chen's friends are in shock, shouting and asking what he is doing, transforming right there. In Awakener schools, there is a special tradition of initiating one-on-one challenges at any time. With a determined look, Si Chen knows this is the most direct way to display his true strength. He is also sure that Gong Ting will definitely not refuse the challenge. Across the room, the blonde young man just stares back at him with a confident smile. The hero knows that as long as he defeats him, people who want high scores will surely come to team up. But suddenly, a female voice calls out his name and asks if his team is still missing people. The girl announces that she also wants to participate in the school's graduation assessment this year. She introduces herself as Ling Yu, revealing that she reached D rank back in middle school and so shouldn't drag his team down. His friend's jaws drop, wondering since when he became so close with the vice president. Even Gong Ting is surprised, and his lackey does not understand what his cousin is doing. On the stage, director Gong Chuan is shocked and furious at Ling Yu's unexpected interference. As she walks, other students gossip, whispering that she is a super genius girl from the Saint He Kingdom. The director then calls her by name, telling her she cannot participate in the assessment because she is an exchange student. He continues, pointing out that since she transferred, she has never taken a rank test and has no report proving her current rank, so her participation would be completely against the regulations. Suddenly, the principal of the university appears in a flash of purple aura, agreeing with the director. Gong Xuan himself is surprised, wondering why the principal is here too. The older man then approaches the young woman and asks why she is joining in on the fun. The protagonist is confused, remembering that the principal's class is a warrior and wondering how he can have teleportation abilities. The principal tells Ling Yu that if she participates, it would break the fairness of the assessment, and she agrees with a smile, calling it a pity. With his eyes glowing green, our hero uses an analysis skill and tries to see both of their ranks, but he cannot detect anything. At this, director Gong Xuan agrees with the principal, stating that the school's prestige is built upon its history of following the rules. He explains that the purpose of the university is to cultivate superclass awakeners and provide a stable supply of talent to the world. He reminds them that the graduation combat assessment is a tradition of decades and one of the most important turning points in a student's life. The principal then asks how the school could afford the responsibility if a student loses this opportunity due to some special, unfair factors. The director breaks out in a sweat, wondering if the old thing has realized he's secretly tampered with things. He can't believe the principal would put on this show with Ling Yu just for that kid. Seeing the situation, the man decides to back down, thinking it is not worth butting heads with the old man. He then tells his nephew that victory should be easy now that his rival is saddled with 3 trash teammates. Changing his tune, the director agrees with the principal, admitting that it was the employment office's lack of consideration and that the current team formation mode might leave some people alone. With that, he announces that teams with fewer than 5 members or teams without a high E-rank member can also submit their registration. The gates of the assessment, he declares, are forever open to everyone. Immediately, the group's wristbands glow, confirming that their team has been formed. The friends celebrate, exclaiming that they can now successfully participate and decide that Si Chen will be their captain. The principal comments to Ling Yu that her interest in Si Chen is much stronger than he had imagined. On one side, we have the strongest team in school history, led by Gong Ting. On the other, Si Chen and his 3 lowest-ranked roommates. The older man smiles, curious about what Devil's Cave they will choose and how many points they will score in the end. A teacher explains that after team formation is complete, the captain can proceed with the Devil's Cave selection. Suddenly, a ding-dong notification sounds, and the teacher is surprised by the speed of one of the teams. The other students are shocked to see that Si Chen's team has already selected a Devil's Cave. One of his roommates shouts in a panic, unable to believe they chose that place. Si Chen's companions go into a total panic, yelling for him to retract the choice immediately. Despite all the shouting, the young man remains calm while the others frantically ask if he knows what he has just chosen and if he is crazy. At that moment, the system explains that the graduation exam is the first time students will form teams to enter a real Devil's Cave. To obtain credits, students must kill the Lord and mobs inside. Killing all the monsters earns a maximum of 10 points for completion rate. Successfully killing the boss yields 20 points for a Lord kill, and completing the raid within 1 hour grants 20 points for completion time. Different Devil's Cave ranks have different raid difficulties and different score multipliers. If an F-rank Devil's Cave is chosen, the score multiplier is 1.5, for a maximum possible score of 75 points. However, an E-rank Devil's Cave has a multiplier of 2, theoretically allowing a team to reach 100 points. The team that gets the highest score will have all of its members receive an offer from the Empire Guild. The team's MVP, selected by a team vote and teacher evaluation, will directly receive a management position at the guild and a 1 million bonus. Hearing this, the students recall that the highest score in school assessment history is 90 points, a record set by the current leader of the Empire Regiment. They acknowledge that the difficulty of an E-rank Devil's Cave is indeed huge, requiring at least 3 D-rank awakeners to possibly raid it. Watching the rival team, everyone comments that Gong Ting's team might actually challenge the school's history record. Suddenly, the system announces Ding Dong submitted, and a student with glasses is surprised by the speed. He is in shock when he realizes it was Si Chen's team that submitted their choice first. In that instant, everyone discovers that Si Chen chose to face a D-rank Devil's Cave, leaving the entire room in absolute silence. The screen glows, showing the selected D-rank Devil's Cave and waiting for member confirmation. The students shout that no graduate has ever raided a D-rank Devil's Cave, wondering if Si Chen pressed the wrong button. One of his friends grabs him by the shirt and desperately asks if he knows what he just chose. Utterly desperate, his roommate throws himself on the floor, crying and wondering how he ended up in a group with this madman. Just then, a notification glows on each of their wristbands, asking if they agree to join. One of his teammates, face beaded with sweat, begs him to think this through, stating that a D-rank Devil's Cave is too much. With a serious look, Si Chen confirms that he has thought it through. Just then, another submission is made. Gong Ting's team has also selected a D-rank Devil's Cave, with all members confirming immediately. The other students are aghast that 2 teams chose a D-rank cave, exclaiming that they are really in for a good show this year. A member of the rival team scoffs at Si Chen's team, calling them rotten onions acting like garlic. The bullies continue to laugh, predicting his team will scatter in the blink of an eye. Despite the mockery, one of Si Chen's friends, a boy with glasses, just stares at him with a thoughtful expression. He notices a powerful aura exuding from his friend, and remembers how he was the one who relied on Si Chen for cover throughout their time in university. With shining eyes, he understands that his roommate has changed. He hits the agreed button and declares that he will accompany him to the end, since they have made it through 4 years together. The other roommate agrees, saying that since they are last place anyway, a D-rank or F-rank cave makes no difference, so he might as well enter a D-rank cave and see the world. The third member is shocked that his friends have agreed to this. He complains that he is clearly the boss of the dorm, yet he has become the last one to make a decision. Even so, he also hits agreed, declaring that since they're graduating anyway, they should go crazy. With that, Si Chen's team's submission is successfully completed. The group gathers around him and he looks at them, grateful for their trust. He then apologizes, revealing that he chose the D-rank Devil's Cave to get the MVP. Upon hearing this, Gong Ting realizes his rival has been aiming for the top all along. Si Chen tells his friends that now that he has made them accompany him on this adventure, they will get the highest score together. But he declares that the MVP is his. Gong Ting states that the strongest in the school can only be one person. One of Gong Ting's teammates remarks that she has never seen that expression on his face before. At that moment, the rivalry between the 2 young men is finally out in the open. The principal smiles, commenting on how fearless the youth are. The woman next to him thinks that Si Chen choosing a D-rank Devil's Cave is a bit too confident. Even if he is a C-rank, trying to lead a team alone to crusade a D-rank Devil's Cave is impossible. Although the D-rank multiplier is 3, theoretically reaching a max of 150 points, the difficulty is several times that of an E-rank cave. With their team's current strength, it is not the optimal solution. The old man notes that with only half a month left until the combat assessment starts, it is impossible to achieve a qualitative leap in this amount of time. He hopes Si Chen's team can put up a decent show then. The scene shifts to 17 days before the assessment. In the school courtyard, Si Chen's group is exhausted on the ground. The friend with glasses complains that while others are inside practicing elemental power and monster simulation combat, Si Chen is making them do dodgeball, shuttle runs, and sprints. The hero explains that at this stage, practicing those things is meaningless. When they enter an unknown devil's cave and face powerful monsters, when fear and the unknown crush them in an instant, what will decide their fate is not theory from their brain, nor temporary combo skills, but their instinct. He reveals that all this training for stamina, explosiveness, and reaction speed is to improve their body's instinct. The help provided by the school's simulation training is extremely limited. The only thing truly useful is entering a real devil's cave for combat training. He reflects that ordinary people cannot enter devil's caves available for combat training. Those with advantages and privileges have always been those extraordinary people. They will widen the gap with outsiders at all costs to keep themselves in high positions forever. From birth, they possess things others cannot touch in a lifetime. One of his friends then asks what people like them, with nothing, should do. The hero replies that they must enter the Empire Guild with the highest score and cross the class hierarchy before them. His companions understand that the graduation assessment is everyone's only chance to overtake on the curve. Si Chen knows it is also his best chance. With a determined look, he declares that what he promised everyone he will do his best to achieve. He vows that they will definitely win. With only 15 days remaining until the graduation exam, See Chen farms inside the Dream Magic Tower every single night within the fallen star wastes. Defeating the Phantom Lions is no easy task, but he refuses to quit no matter how brutally they slam him around. When there are only 10 days left, he keeps pushing his limits while his roommates struggle to keep up with 5 more laps at the stadium. 5 days before the exam, his roommates are training with everything they have. Chen, however, is on a completely different level as he performs weighted push-ups with a heavy kettlebell balanced on his back. His insane regimen makes the Hashira training arc look like a warm-up. With just 3 days left, his rival Gong Ting is clearly not slacking on training either as he slashes through targets with his sword. But Si Chen is improving at an even faster rate. Only 2 days remain, and now he can confidently hold his own against an entire pack of lions under bone-crushing gravity, reaching level 16 as a lightning assassin. With only 1 day to go and blood streaking down his face, he has never looked more prepared to win, declaring that the real battle begins now. On June 17, 2157, the day of the graduation combat assessment finally arrives. A small drone floats with the participants, introducing itself as their accompanying guide for this assessment. Chen and his friends walk in dressed in matching outfits, looking dapper as hell. Once all participants ensure their equipment and wristbands are worn correctly, the exam officially begins with the gate of the Devil's Cave opening with lightning. Meanwhile, at the administrative building, the academy principal warmly greets someone. This man is Gong Ting's father, the co-founder of the Empire Guild. The students cannot stop staring when they see the Empire Guild co-founder, gawking at him like he is an exotic animal from the zoo. Their curiosity peaks when they see the guild co-founder and principal personally welcome a sleek white limo. A red-haired gentleman comes out of the car. It is Carl Cavendish, the vice chairman of the World Guild Alliance. The students freak out upon recognizing him as the vice chairman of the World Guild Alliance, as they cannot believe someone like him would come to their school. They say you would be lucky to see these big shots even once in a lifetime. No wonder the entire administrative area was cleared out today. The Guild Alliance is currently the most powerful organization in the world. If they could catch their eye, no. Even just making contact with them would make their lives instantly skyrocket. Inside a VIP room as the live broadcast begins, the director briefs the honored guests that a total of 184 students divided into 28 teams are participating. He explains that 23 teams are taking on F-rank Devil's Caves, 3 teams selected E-rank Devil's Caves, while only 2 teams boldly chose D-rank Devil's Caves. The Alliance Secretary General, Sigrid, looks genuinely surprised that students would make such a reckless decision, since D-rank caves are considered dangerous even for professional guild raid teams. Normally, a party would carefully prepare before attempting a D-rank Devil's Cave. Sigrid questions whether the academy truly educated the students about the dangers of these caves. Hearing that concern, the director calmly clarifies that they naturally explained it clearly beforehand. He notes that because students lack practical combat experience, the vast majority typically struggle even against ordinary mobs like the F-rank Thorntooth Salamander. However, the real threat lies in the Lord Monster, such as the giant Thorntooth Salamander, which far outclasses mobs of the same rank. The students must go all out just to defeat an F-rank Lord. However, things are completely different inside E-rank Devil's Caves. The strength of every mob there, like the stag beetle spider, is identical to that of an F-rank Lord. That harsh reality is something students learn the hard way, as raiding an E-rank cave is an impossible task that exceeds their expectations. Sigrid asks if there are any protective measures if the students encounter danger. The director reassures her that the students are their most precious resource. For their safety, armed personnel from the Empire Guild Regiment are stationed outside every Devil's Cave, ready to intervene immediately if an extremely dangerous situation is detected. Furthermore, the wristbands each student wears have a teleportation function. As long as an examinee issues the command to forfeit the assessment, they will be immediately teleported out. Sigrid remains doubtful that the academy has students talented enough to challenge a D-rank Devil's Cave. She says she looks forward to their performance, while the director quietly wonders how many minutes they can last. He privately thinks that the brats, including Si Chen, will likely flee in no time. Inside the D-rank Devil's Cave at the peak of the Cloud Forest, the area is a high-risk zone filled with gigantic trees coated in thick ice. Si Chen's roommates are visibly terrified and ask what the hell the creatures before them are. On the trees are creatures known as ghost bat monkeys, which are D-rank cloud assassins. Si Chen quickly warns his party that those monsters excel at group attacks, and their aerial dive speed is extremely fast. They need to stay on constant alert for their dive attacks. Suddenly, a flock of the ghost bat monkeys swoops down straight at them from behind. Chen warns his friends that they are coming. Shockingly, all the boys manage to dodge the monster's lightning-fast strikes. While they are still hyped and shocked that they actually avoided a D-rank creature's attack, something even crazier catches their attention. Si Chen stands there with a lightning sword in hand, surrounded by monster corpses at his feet. His friends are shocked to see that he instantly solo-killed 3 D-rank monsters. Si Chen tells his teammates to focus solely on their own protection because their current power levels are not enough to handle the monsters. He commands them to leave the rest of the fighting to him. Suddenly, another ghost bat monkey lunges at the group, but they barely manage to dodge the strike in the nick of time. Xiangzhu reflects on the situation and realizes that the previous training for reaction speed and explosiveness was designed specifically so they could survive against demons like this. He realizes that Si Chen never actually expected them to provide any real help, and that the training was simply so they could protect themselves. Xiangzhu feels a surge of frustration, thinking about how he has been the boss of their dorm the entire time, yet now he has to rely on a roommate to carry him to graduation. Meanwhile, Si Chen is busy killing the remaining ghost bat monkeys. More monkeys charge at him, but he slices them down before they can even react. Xiangzhu notes that he never believed Ma Long when he claimed Si Chen was strong, but seeing it with his own eyes now, he realizes he was wrong. He thinks that Si Chen does not seem like a graduate student at all. He is clearly a battle-hardened warrior. Xiangzhu grinds his teeth, wondering when his friend suddenly became so reliable and feels a sense of being left behind. Out of nowhere, another monster attacks the group. The group dodges the monster's attack, but Xiangzhu grabs the monster's leg with his flaming hands and shouts out to his teammates. He yells at Xiangyu and Ma Long that they cannot act like deadweights and rely entirely on Si Chen. This graduation assessment is their graduation assessment too. Xiangyu agrees and uses his Flora chant, Vine Lock, telling the monster to have a taste of his power as the vines entangle it. However, the monster breaks free almost instantly. But Ma Long quickly uses Cloud chant, Frost Breeze, and freezes the monster's movement, and shouts that he has successfully slowed the monster down. He tells Xiangyu that they should launch a combined attack together. They use a combo skill of Frost Breeze and Vine Lock to restrain the monster and scream for Xiangzhu to act now. Xiangzhu tells them he has it and throws a nuclear mage, burst flame bullet at the monster. He scores a direct hit, but the monster does not take much damage and roars at them. Zhuo wonders how the demon can be so tanky. He fires several more flame bullets at the monster, yet even after taking every hit, the monster is still alive. Xiangyu and Ma Long both shout that they have reached their limits and cannot hold the monster back any longer. Xiangzhu decides he will not hold back anymore and declares that he is going all out. He gathers all his power into a converged burst flame bullet and fires it directly at the monster, causing a massive explosion. As the smoke clears, the drone offers its congratulations and announces they have successfully killed 1 ghost bat monkey. The 3 of them collapse onto the snow, completely exhausted, yet they celebrate the fact that they actually took down a D-rank monster on their own. Si Chen looks at them, and Xiangzhu excitedly asks him if he witnessed their victory. He catches his breath while claiming that the fight was a piece of cake. Chen tells them they did a good job as monster corpses are everywhere behind him, and the drone declares that every monster within the Devil's Cave has been killed. Watching the broadcast, Gong Xuan is horrified and asks how it is possible for trash students with 0 combat experience to kill a D-rank monster above their level. Everyone stares at the screen in silence, while Carl praises the young man for his excellent performance. He looks at Si Chen's face and thinks that he looks a lot like an old acquaintance. Carl says Si Chen's name and notes that he will remember him. This observation immediately alarms Gong Lin and director Gong Xuan. Clearing his throat, Gong Xuan quickly attempts to divert the group's attention. He shouts for everyone to look at the screen, pointing out that the other team that chose a D-rank Devil's Cave has already fought its way to the middle section. Sigrid observes the feed and notes that their coordination is incredibly smooth, remarking that it is almost like a professional guild raid team. Carl finds this interesting and comments that the quality of this year's graduates is actually not bad at all. Director Gong quietly thinks that the battle has only just begun and that the real show is yet to come. Inside the D-rank Devil's Cave, Toxic Vine Cavern, Gong Ting's party faces an attack from miasma poison mushroom monsters that emerge from all directions. The monsters are categorized as D-rank Flora warriors. A girl plucks her guitar and releases her Flora chant, Elegy of Decay, which causes the mushroom's strength, stamina, and speed to decrease. A mage links the mushrooms together with his stellar attraction ability for a coordinated strike and calls out to his captain. Gong Ting charges forward and with a single swift strike, he unleashes his blazing Sky Sever with precision, causing the mushroom monsters to burst apart. His teammates observe that the monsters in this school assessment match exactly with the ones they encountered during their earlier training sessions. Because of this familiarity, the party handles the situation as an absolute breeze. Gong Ting's teammate notes that the graduation assessment was arranged in advance by the officials. He reflects on the idea that as long as you choose the right backer, the path of life becomes incredibly easy. They celebrate the idea that they are guaranteed to be the champions and declare it is time to go fight the boss. Back to the MC's team, they walk through the snow and arrive at the peak of the cloud forest. The boys are shocked that they actually made it this far into a D-rank devil's cave. In the middle of a frozen wasteland, they see a D-rank cloud warrior, the ice ghost ape, calmly enjoying its meal. Ma Long starts sweating and wonders if that is the final lord, while Xiang Zhuo thinks that a single slap from that thing would be enough to kill him 10 times over. The ape slowly locks its glowing red eyes on them. Ma Long freaks out at the sight and screams in terror. The ape lets out a loud roar and runs toward them, while Xiang Zhuo, Xiang Yu, and Ma Long start to run as fast as they can while screaming. But Si Chen charges forward and kicks the ape, sending it flying. He does not give the monster a chance. He attacks again, cutting the ape apart. Ma Long and his roommates are stunned in awe, wondering how the lord was executed so easily again. Chen obtains 200 EXP and an ice ape pelt, yet he feels irritated that killing a D-rank lord only gave this little experience. He reflects on the fact that the drops are very trash as well. Suddenly, Xiang Zhuo shouts excitedly that they found many mana stones. He tells the others to hurry over and look at the treasure the big guy hid inside the tree hollow. Based on the size, they must be at least intermediate-grade mana stones. He laughs and says that as long as they take them out and sell them, they will be set for life, and he tries to touch them. Si Chen realizes something and shouts for them to wait, but it is too late. As soon as they touch the stones, a Cloud Mage's ice burst bomb triggers. In mere seconds, the entire area is sealed in ice. Xiang Yu, Xiang Zhuo, and the drones are all fully frozen. Back in the VIP room, the live broadcast for Chen's team abruptly displays a signal lost warning. Gong Xuan smirks, thinking that they fell for it exactly as he expected. He reflects on the fact that high-level monsters have intelligence and thinks that trash will always be trash, only ever dragging others down, deciding that their graduation assessment journey should come to an end. Carl looks displeased and notes that under these circumstances, the students' lives will be threatened. Gong Xuan fakes concern and claims that saving them is the priority, suggesting they have no choice but to let the guild raid team intervene and stop the assessment. But Principal Yuan Long disagrees and tells him to give them a little more time. He explains that the wristbands synchronously monitor their physical condition and their vital signs are currently perfectly normal. Moreover, he points out that there are no reports of the students having any thoughts of forfeiting. He declares that the right to choose should remain in the hands of the examinees themselves. Back inside the cave, Ma Long lets out a loud sneeze in the biting cold. He is thankful that he is a cloud-type class and has some resistance to freezing, otherwise they would have been wiped out completely. Just then he hears a laugh. He spots a skeleton-like ice monster and wonders if it is the true lord of the Devil's Cave. Ma Long recalls seeing the creature mentioned in the monster encyclopedia before. He quickly remembers that it is actually a cloud mage that possesses both defensive and offensive abilities with ease. While it manipulates ice and snow without any effort at all, it is sinister and cunning, preferring to cruelly toy with its prey until they die, and is known as the Frostbone Skeleton King. He realizes that the ice burst bomb from earlier was nothing more than a trap. He turns around and runs without hesitation. Ma Long understands very well that he cannot handle a rare C-rank lord monster like this on his own under any circumstance. He rushes toward Si Chen in an attempt to hurry and free him, but an ice attack strikes his leg before he can even reach Si Chen. He groans in pain while the Frostbone Skeleton King laughs at his misery. His wristband sends out a warning signal that informs him a piercing wound has been detected on his left calf. It offers him the option to forfeit the assessment, but Ma Long refuses. He still tries to break Si Chen out from the ice, using the cloud chant Purifying Origin, which applies purifying energy to the target and slowly removes their negative effects. He considers the idea that as long as Si Chen can recover, there is still hope. At that moment, another ice bone spike shoots through his right arm, which stops him from freeing Si Chen. Ma Long groans in pain as his purifying origin fails. The Frostbone Skeleton King enjoys the suffering and continues to laugh. The monster prepares for another attack with its ice bone spike. Ma Long's wristband issues another warning about severe damage, detecting that his heart rate is too high and another piercing wound is located on his right arm. It offers him the option to forfeit the assessment once again, but he remembers his past. He recalls how he always ran away every time he faced hardship and fear, reflecting on how that habit caused him to always be left behind. He remembers how he was ignored, mocked, bullied, and treated unfairly. Yet he remembers that he and his friends risked their lives just to get here. He realizes they finally have a chance to change their fate. So he gathers the last of his strength and uses Purifying Origin on Si Chen once again. As he tries his best, the Frostbone Skeleton King unleashes a barrage of icicles straight toward him without any pause. Just as the attack is about to land, Ma Long lets out a loud roar and Si Chen finally opens his eyes at that exact moment. He uses Divine Flash to carry Ma Long away from danger in one swift move. This sudden escape catches the Frostbone Skeleton King off guard. He puts Ma Long down in a safe place. Ma Long reflects on the fact that in the end, Si Chen still had to break free from the crowd control himself. Chen tells Ma Long that he was actually a huge help and immediately asks if his wounds are all right. Ma Long replies that it is nothing major and he has already stopped the bleeding. He informs Si Chen that the monster they face is a C-rank cloud lord known as the Frostbone Skeleton King. He warns that it is incredibly tough and adds that they cannot afford to get frozen by him again if they want to survive. Chen turns back and sees the Frostbone Skeleton King charge up a massive ice burst bomb, which forms into a massive glacier attack ready to fire. The Skeleton King laughs. Ma Long is stunned, wondering how it can cast an attack like that and asking how they are supposed to dodge. In an instant, the ice bomb crashes down and covers everything in blinding white. The monster begins to laugh again, but suddenly stops when it notices that both of them still stand alive after that huge attack. Si Chen switches his class to a level 16 Infernal Death King and activates a Frost Physique. It makes him immune to cold and increases all his resistances in low-temperature environments, which turns the battlefield into his advantage instead. The Frostbone Skeleton King is shocked by this, and even Ma Long feels confused as he watches the power radiating from his friend. He asks if Si Chen was not supposed to be a lightning assassin, and wonders if he is one of those 1 in a million dual-class awakeners. Chen simply apologizes, admitting that his earlier miscalculation put the three of them in danger. But it will not happen anymore. He initiates a class switch, and once it is complete, he becomes a level 16 Purgatory Rakshasa, ready to face the Frostbone Skeleton King with full intent to end him right here and now. Ma Long's jaw drops wide open at the sight. Generally speaking, an awakener can only awaken a single class. However, in extremely rare cases representing a 1 in 10 million chance, an awakener might awaken two classes. These incredibly rare existences are known as dual-class awakeners. Worldwide, there are fewer than 10 known dual-class awakeners, and once such a talent is discovered, they immediately become the target of intense recruitment by all guild raid teams. Yet Si Chen actually possesses three classes, and it feels as though every single one of them is terrifyingly strong. In his level 16 Purgatory Rakshasa form, Si Chen's stats surge at an insane rate as his strength and stamina reach maximum levels. He jumps with explosive momentum, reaching the boss and raising his sword for an attack. The monster's smug grin vanishes under his killing aura as he uses triple gravity strike, hypermass mode, and in a single clean motion, he slices the Frostbone Skeleton King like a knife through butter. Chen lands on the ground and obtains 5,000 EXP and levels up, securing a victory and obtaining an Icebone Spike. Staring at the shattered skeleton's lifeless remains, Ma Long is still stunned that he just one-shot a C-rank Lord monster. Si Chen casually asks if those two are still frozen, making Ma Long suddenly realize he completely forgot about Xiang Zhuo and Xiang Yu during the entire boss fight. He tells his brothers to hang in there and sprints off to thaw them out before they turn into forbidden ice cream. After he leaves, Chen notices that the Lord's remains are marked as devourable. With no one around to witness it, he quickly devours the fallen Lair Lord. He acquires the Frostbone Skeleton King's Cloud Mage class, and reflects on how elemental power is fixed at the time of devouring a class outside of the dreamscape. He turns around and notes that because the camera drone was frozen and obscured earlier, his abilities should not have been exposed to the public. He considers that they still have plenty of time and should definitely get a perfect score. Then he receives a notification that his class proficiency for Lightning Assassin has reached 100%, granting him 1 attribute point to allocate. Si Chen wonders why he obtained a star. The scene shifts to the D-rank Devil's Cave, Toxic Vine Cavern, where Gong Ting's team is being absolutely overwhelmed by the giant devouring flora. One member shouts, asking if this is the strength of a D-rank boss, and yells at the others to hit it harder because he cannot hold it back anymore. No matter how fiercely they attack, the D-rank boss proves far too durable for these amateur awakeners. An archer notes that its defense is so high that they cannot break through it at all. The monster tosses them aside with just one attack, causing one member to yell that he is losing control. Another teammate reflects on how they never encountered a monster this strong during their training, and asks what they should do. One member realizes they can only rely on their guild master and asks how Gong Ting is doing. Far in the backline, Gong Ting makes a dramatic pose while gathering power as he is buffed with stamina, strength, and elemental power by the support mages. His teammates ask if the power has not finished gathering yet. With enough energy finally gathered, Gong Ting declares that this is enough. He launches himself at the boss and attacks, piercing his sword into the monster's body. He shouts for it to burn to ashes. He uses his nuclear warrior, incinerating blade piercing burst skill, causing the blade to pierce through the core and erupt into a massive storm of flames that melts the monster from the inside out. His teammates erupt in cheers, shouting that the guild master is so strong and that it is just what they expected from him. They tell him he is a badass and that he did it. The drone announces that Gong Ting's team has successfully cleared the D-Rank Devil's Cave in 35 minutes, leaving his party convinced they have taken first place and that this feat will probably never be matched. They celebrate taking down a D-Rank Devil's Cave in half an hour, reflecting on how clearing it within 1 hour with a multiplier of 3 gives them a final score of 150 points. They cheer about having a perfect score that sets a new school record as Gong Ting's team decides to head out and check the rankings immediately. The team exits the Devil's Cave eagerly, expecting to see their names shining proudly at the very top of the rankings. As they walk through the hallways, Gong Cheng considers the fact that even for the lowest tier F-Rank Devil's Cave, it would take others at least an hour to clear it. He laughs loudly and declares that anyone leaving the Devil's Cave at this time, other than his own team, has to be the trash who forfeited early. They pass through a hallway filled with students who surrendered and teleported out early. One student begs for the monsters not to kill him, but his companion tells him to calm down because they left the Devil's Cave long ago. A crying girl says that it was too terrifying and that those monsters were absolutely terrifying. Gong Cheng sees Si Chen and his squad and thinks to himself that the gang really did chicken out and bail early, just as expected. He greets them by asking if it isn't Si Chen. He asks if they couldn't even finish the assessment and reminds them that Si Chen was acting all tough before. Gong Ting tells Gong Cheng to come back. He explains that the vice chairman is here and they need to go greet him. At that moment, Carl claps and declares that it was brilliant and absolutely brilliant. He announces that they truly witnessed an outstanding performance today. Gong Ting watches the group walk toward him, and Gong Cheng thinks that Carl is the man standing at the pinnacle of world power. He notes that he is coming over and is walking toward his brother. Gong Ting extends his hand for a handshake, but Carl walks straight past him without a glance. He tells Si Chen that he is truly remarkable. He announces that he cleared a D-Rank Devil's Cave in a mere 21 minutes. He notes the fact that even a fully fledged professional guild raid team would find that difficult to achieve and declares that it was truly brilliant. Gong Cheng asks what happened in total shock. He thinks about how those 4 pieces of trash not only successfully cleared a D-Rank Devil's Cave, but also only took 21 minutes to do it. Ma Long and the others nervously greet the vice chairman while Chen looks at him silently. Si Chen thinks to himself that Carl Cavendish is the vice chairman of the World Guild Alliance and arguably the second most powerful figure in the world today. He wonders why such a man would come here. Carl asks if his name is Si Chen and considers the idea that this trip wasn't a waste of time after all. He then turns to Gong Lin and notes that the young master of the Gong family also performed quite well. He mentions that leading a team to clear a D-Rank Devil's Cave at such a young age is impressive. He tells Gong Lin that he has taught him well, and it is a case of like father, like son. Gong Lin tells the vice chairman that he flatters him. Carl says it is getting late and he should head back. As he walks away, he tells the principal that he really hit the jackpot this time. He considers the fact that finding a pair of prodigies rarely seen even in a millennium is a lucky feat. The director clears his throat and announces that next he will announce the assessment results for both teams. He explains that since there is a tie for a perfect score in this assessment, both teams are tied for the championship. He declares that everyone on both teams is eligible to join the Empire Guild. Ma Long and the roommates celebrate wildly and scream, yes, in excitement. They shout about how they actually made it into the Empire Guild. They celebrate being set for life right out of graduation and call it a one-way ticket to the top. Gong Ting remains silent and looks grim. The director adds that Captains Gong Ting and Si Chen will both be granted core management positions within the Empire Guild, and they will split the 1 million MVP prize money equally. Hearing this, both of them are shocked. Si Chen realizes he will only get 500,000 and reflects on his promise to pay back Qingzhai 1 million within a month. He wonders if he is going to be forced to delay it, and thinks he will just have to find a way to earn another 500,000 as quickly as possible. Gong Ting refuses to accept the result and declares that there can only be one champion. He demands a one-on-one tiebreaker with Si Chen. Everyone stops walking and doing anything and turns around. The director asks what nonsense he is spouting. He reminds him the assessment is already over and that a tie for first place is the perfect outcome. He assumes Si Chen would never agree to an extra match. However, Si Chen asks if he gets to keep the entire 1 million if he wins. The director spits out in shock. Gong Ting tells him to take it all if he can beat him. Carl smiles and notes that it is interesting and says that this performance hasn't ended just yet. The two rivals stand face to face as Si Chen tells him to speak and asks how they settle this.